to the Tuesday, the 16th of September, 2025, Mansfield Shire Council regular monthly meeting. I'd like to extend that thanks to, or welcome to our CEO, all my councillors, fellow councillors, including Councillor Mandy Treasure online tonight, and all of you in the gallery this evening and everyone watching online. So welcome. We'll start off because we've got one councillor attending virtually tonight, and sorry to hear Mandy, Councillor Treasure not feeling very well, but I'll ask you, Councillor Treasure, can you hear the proceedings and see all councillors and council officers?
I can hear the proceedings and I can see all councillors and council staff. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And we can see and hear you. Yep. Apologies, Madam CEO.
No apologies.
No apologies. All right. Item 4, the statement of commitment. I'll read that out and then ask each councillor in turn. As councillors of Mansfield Shire, we are committed to ensuring our behaviour meets the standards set by the Model Councillor Code of Conduct. We will, at all times, faithfully represent and uphold the trust placed in by the community. I'll ask each councillor to confirm their commitment. Councillor Tehan.
I confirm my commitment, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Treasure.
I confirm my commitment.
Councillor Clark.
I confirm my commitment, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Brenny.
I confirm my commitment, Mr. Mayor.
And I confirm my commitment too. Thank you. Item 5, the acknowledgement of country by the Deputy Mayor.
Our meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Taungurung people. We wish to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians and pay our respects to their elders past and present. We extend that respect to all members of our community.
Thank you. Item 6, disclosure of conflicts of interest. I'll ask each councillor whether they have any conflicts of interest in relation to any agenda items tonight. Councillor Tehan.
No conflicts, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Treasure.
No conflicts, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Clark.
I have no conflicts in relation to tonight's agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Brenny.
I have one conflict relating to the confidential agenda, one of the items on there, 18.2.
18.2, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd also like to declare to one of the agenda items in the confidential agenda this evening.
Yeah, no problem, Madam CEO. And I have no conflicts. Thank you. Representations. 2. Sorry?
Sorry, confirmation of minutes. Point of
Oh,
order.
sorry. Sorry, item 7, confirmation of minutes.
I'll move that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark.
I'll move that the minutes of the Mansfield Shire Council meeting held on the 19th of August 2025 to be confirmed as an accurate record.
Councillor Brenny, second it. All those in favour of that motion? Motion is carried, thank you. Now, item 8, representations. No representations. Yeah, there is one. Oh, that's a question. Oh, that's a deputation, isn't it? All right, deputation, Mr. Paul Trong, item 13.2.2 when that comes up. Thank you. External presentations. We do have one tonight from Ms. Julie Alders, the Medal of the Order of Timor-Leste. Welcome, Ms. Alders.
Thank you very much. And it's a very formal presentation tonight because it's not very often. And it goes green. That's all right. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for your welcome tonight. I'd like to formally present a medal tonight that doesn't often happen in rural areas of Victoria. Doesn't happen in Australia very often. This is an international medal of recognition that was presented to Friends of Vanilale by the President of Timor-Leste in recognition of the work that's been done in this community. Now, we know that the work that's been done in this community is really because of the people we have here. I've lived and worked in rural communities all my life, and Mansfield is a good place to be, with very generous people who look beyond their periphery to the wider world, and who look at that world with some wisdom, some generosity, and some education, perhaps we could say. And that doesn't happen just by accident. It happens because of the leaders in the community, and you are some of those leaders. And through the work that the Shire has done in initiating the relationship with Vanilale, we're very grateful to receive this and to ask the Shire, would you please be the custodians of this medal for the people of Mansfield? The Order of Timor-Leste for the Mansfield community. Thank you very much. We haven't discussed yet as to where we will be able to put that. There is the certificate itself and the medal, which is quite weighty. So I think, Mr. Mayor, it would look very good around your neck, but perhaps we... No, but it's something that we're very proud to receive. We also have our report. Helen, can you hold that up, please? The 20-year report. This year happens to be our 20th anniversary, and we have our celebrations next Saturday with the Wangaratta, the two groups from Indi who've also formed about the same time. So the electorate of Indi has 60 years, over 60 years of combined service to Timor-Leste. It's a recognition of Timor-Leste that they've actually asked us to put together reports so that their community has developed to such an extent that they are now able to categorise, quantify and qualify the work that has been done over the years to support them by Australians. And this recognition is part of that acknowledgement that they haven't been alone in the work that they've done in producing things. So, Mr. Mayor, can I please formally ask you to come forward? Councillors, if you're accepting on behalf of Matt, that's fine. Thank you.
On behalf of the community. You brought a 12-year-old.
What you do about it? At least it's not there.
I'm close enough.
And we wore ties tonight because these are traditional, traditionally woven pieces that recognise the that remember the work that's gone on in the community. They're deeply cultural. They have been handed down generation to generation from mother to daughter in the patterns, and recognise the resistance fighting that went on in Timor against oppression. So that they proudly wear the tice as part of their, and they give it as a gift when people arrive. So thank you very much, councillors and Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aldous, on behalf of Timor-Leste, and we do officially accept the Medal of the Order Timor-Leste on behalf of our community in the Mansfield Shire. We very much thank you very much for coming in tonight. Thanks. Item 9 is the notices of motion, which there are nil. Item 10 is the Mayor's report, and if you just, councillors, give me a little bit of leeway here. I don't normally mention my Mayor's report, but specifically tonight I'd like to read something out. I'd like to offer my sincere condolences to all those affected by the horrible events at Gorpunka last month. It's a great tragedy that 2 police officers, cherished members of their communities, have lost their lives while trying to keep us all safe. The flags at our municipal offices were flown at half-mast the following day, and we recently lit up the police memorial in Mansfield in blue to show our respect. I've also written to the local area commander at Victoria Police to share condolences on behalf of all of our local community. I hope you'll join me in showing appreciation for our local police and support our affected members in our community in this difficult time. That's only part of the report, so thanks for your indulgence, councillors. There's a recommendation. Councillor Brenny.
Yeah, I recommend the council receive the mayor's report for the period 20th of August 2025 to 10th of September 2025.
Thank you. Councillor Clark, second. All those in favour of that recommendation, motion? Yes, motion is passed. Item 11, reports from council appointed representatives. The Australia Day Awards Committee hasn't met. Goulburn Murray Climate Alliance, Councillor Brenny.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, the Alliance met on Thursday, the 11th, last week, for the quarterly board meeting. Well attended and welcomed Mr. Alcanez to the meeting, who's in their new role as part of Mansfield Shire Council. Main points that were discussed was the withdrawal of Shepparton, Greater Shepparton City Council after 16 years of their involvement, and discuss the impact of the position of the Alliance on staffing and other projects, which it looks like won't have a huge impact at the moment, but hopefully it's not a trend that goes on. And the GMCA has applied for the Disaster Resilience Fund and has been shortlisted for reducing climate risk in the regions. Outcome expected in late September or October about that funding. And then the meeting was moved a week because of the annual Victorian Greenhouse Alliances Conference, which was held in Melbourne, and I attended with a few other from the region, about 4 others from GMCA. And there was a total of 400 people that attended the conference. So it was quite a good turnout, a combination of council officers, councillors, NGOs and other organisations that work in the council space. And that's about it from me. Thank you.
Councillor Brenny. Hume Regional Local Government Network has not met. The Mansfield Shire Audit and Risk Committee met. We met yesterday, and I'll pass over to Councillor Treasure for a report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've actually had 2 meetings this quarter. And I'd just like to note some outcomes of the Audit and Risk meeting held on Monday, the 25th of August, attended by external members, councillors, Rabian Treasure, executive staff, and representatives from the internal and external auditors. Some of the items discussed were as follows. Discussions around the new annual work plan 25 to 29, bearing in mind there are new LGV guidelines due out in December this year. Risk appetite statement and risk management for the Mansfield Shire. Mansfield Shire debt schedule and insurance policy renewal, and draft governance and management checklist for 2025. The internal audit, currently auditing payroll and commencing the audit of the road management plan. External audit, the issues with the Auditor General's office relating to 2024 have now been resolved with the implementation of new, more robust systems and the hard work by our finance team. We are confident the process will be more streamlined going forward. This is also the position of the Auditor General's office. A risk appetite statement has been drafted, which is a first for our council, designed to define Mansfield Shire's tolerance for risk, supported by internal guidelines and processes. This is a way of defining both inherent and residual risk for our council. There is also an extraordinary meeting on the 15th of September, yesterday, to discuss the draft annual report for the year ended 30 June 2025. The draft financial statements were recommended to council for adoption. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Treasure. The Mansfield Shire CEO Employment Matters Committee hasn't met since the last meeting, since the last council meeting. Municipal Association Victoria not met. North East Local Government Waste and Recovery Forum has not met. Rural Councils Victoria has not met. Station Precinct Museum Committee Asset Committee that I chair was that met yesterday, and before on the agenda there was the draft delegation and governance agreement, the draft MOU between Mansfield Shire Council, Historical Society and the Taungurung Land and Waters Council, and also the draft operating agreement between Mansfield Shire Council, Community Asset Committee, Mansfield Historical Society, all of which were finalised with the wording and is now being sent to Taungurung Land and Waters Council for their perusal, and we're hoping to have that back within the month so that we can then finalise that. And I believe that will probably come to council, Madam CEO. Yeah. The financials were talked about. There's not a lot to talk about there, other than the fact that the financial model for the complex. And confirmation of next meeting is November the 10th at 1400 hours. So that's that was our Museum Community Asset Committee meeting. And Taungurung Local Government Forum has not met.
It did. Unfortunately,
We weren't able to go,
able to
so
attend.
we haven't
Was it
got a
flat?
report.
No, we
Yeah,
haven't.
we had a clash. So there's a recommendation, Councillor Clark.
I'd like to move the council note the verbal reports provided by councillors in relation to their representation on internal and external committees.
Councillor Treasure.
I'll second that, please, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour? Harry, thank you. Item 12 is public question time, and we do have 4 questions tonight, and 2 questions from Mr. Richard Heath, who's here in the gallery, and 2 questions from Ms. Donna Heath, who is also here in the gallery. And question 1 and 2 I'll take, and question 2 and 4, Councillor Clark. 3 and 4, sorry. So question 1, the land zoning in Goffs Bay opposite properties 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13 Lake Valley Drive between the road and the lake is zoned public park and recreational zone. Does the CEO or council have plans to rezone this area in any way to stop construction of any type? Our response is there are currently no plans to rezone the land opposite 9 to 13 Lake Valley Drive, Goffs Bay. Question 2. In the council report related to the Goffs Bay playground, brackets file number E12087, why has it not been noted for councillor consideration that an offer was made to erect a playground fence for free by a local resident around the community's chosen spot? And our response? The report lists a range of factors that were taken into consideration for the final site location. The offer of the fence at the initial site on Lake Valley Drive was welcomed by council officers. However, it preceded the final site selection and did not address the other concerns raised by community members as discussed at the site walk on the 31st of May. Over to you.
Mr. Mayor, question 3 is from Donna Heath. The CEO acknowledged that the community consultation process did not follow council's standard practice. Did the following engagement processes take place as a result of this initial engagement not following process? Our response. So council's community engagement policy and processes outline the importance of transparent community consultation. We asked for feedback from the community listen to the concerns and act in the best interests of our community. We take community feedback into account when weighing up the many factors that go into making a decision. In this case, council officers did not send direct letters to those who lived near the playground, which would be what council would consider standard process as part of our community engagement. At the same time, it became evident that there was division in the community around where the playground should be located. For these reasons, council took a lead role in facilitating the community consultation process to better understand the issues and concerns being raised by community members. Question 4 from Donna as well. Given that the planning scheme states there is no need for a planning permit and therefore notification to the community is not required, are the councillors going to re-evaluate their decision to move the playground back to where the community voted for it to be in the first place? Our response is council has decided on an appropriate location which considers community feedback as well as a range of other factors such as safety, proximity to the water, traffic, views, accessibility to visitors, natural shade and other infrastructure and attractions in the area. The notification process required as part of the planning scheme is not required in this instance due to its size and the zone it is in, as noted in the question. While a planning permit is not required, the requirement to notify the community under the planning scheme is not the only reason the council engages and consults with community in accordance with its policy.
Thanks, Councillor Clark. Item 13 are the officer reports. 13.1 is the Chief Executive Officer's report. Councillors, have you got any comments on the CEO's report or questions? In that, yes?
Yes, I've got a couple. Yep.
Right. Over to you, Councillor T.
Thanks. This item 2, the capital works, very pleasing to see that there's no red or yellow ink anywhere down on the right-hand side, all green. So all projects are going well, expected to come in on time, which is really good because I don't think we've seen that for before, maybe. Yeah. I've just got a question regarding queries regarding 3 of the projects. The Lord's Pavilion, which is expected to come to council at October meeting for award of tender. Miss Crane or Miss Kirst Alexander, so that's on track and ready to go.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
That is my understanding. They're busy evaluating tenders as we speak. I understand it's actually Mr. Houghton is the responsible officer for that one.
Right.
Not here at the moment, but he does assure me they're on track for that.
That's
And they're actually looking at, because it will be a fairly big agenda between now and Christmas, there might be a few more coming through as well. Is he on? Sorry.
So I'm having IP problems.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, thank you.
well, that's very pleasing to hear because it's and the finish date for that is November 27. So which will be in time for the cricket season. The Courier Street Police Stables public shower and toilets. The building permit is in progress. How's that coming along?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I don't have an update other than that it is in progress. It can take a little while for building permits, so but I don't see any particular reason why that one would be delayed. So I think yeah, although I note that we've got a completion date of November on that one. Yeah, depending on how quickly it takes to get the permit, that may have to push out. So we'll just see how we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the permit's in progress, which is good to see. And the last one was the Rifle Butts Road. So targeted for sealing to be carried out in September. We're in the middle of September now.
It is weather, through you, Mr. Mayor, it is weather dependent. I I think it originally was for this week, but I think given recent weather, it might have to be delayed and pushed back a little bit. But the aim is to get it done this month.
Great. All right, that's all I've got.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks, councillor Team.
Councillor Breen, question through you, Mr. Mayor, to Madam CEO, and might be for Ms. Crane. Just looking at the lodged applications and noticing that it's trending a lot lower than previous years. Is that something that's seen across the state or just locally?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, application lodgement does vary from month to month. It tends to, as to how it compares to the rest of the state, I probably can't answer that. But other than we generally end up with the same amount from a year-to-year basis, and it varies across each month depending on what's happening out in the industry. It is something we keep an eye on as much as possible, but when we have a few less lodged in a month, it does mean we can get a few more of the actual ones out issued, which is reflected in the report with 27 determined last month.
Thank you. Further questions?
Okay.
I can move.
Yep. Are you going to move the motion, councillor Team?
Receive and note the Chief Executive Officer's report for the period 1st of August 2025 to the 31st of August 2025.
Thanks, councillor Team. Councillor Brenny, second. Councillor Team, do you want to speak to the motion?
No, thanks.
Councillor Brenny, do you want to speak to it?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Does any councillor want to speak against or for the motion? In that case, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion's passed. Thank you. Carried. Item 13.2.1 is a planning permit application for 27 Hunter Street, Mansfield. The responsible officer is Ms. Embling, who I can see is online. Welcome, Ms. Embling.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening. Councillors, any questions for Ms. Embling on this agenda item? I have one. I believe that this item's only come to council because the planning application is for an employee of council. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so if that wasn't an employee in council, it would have been gone through the normal planning system. And your recommendation is to carry this, so it would have just gone through. Is that correct?
That's correct. So our current delegations do require any application where a staff member is the landowner or the permit applicant. It must be decided by council. However, if this application didn't fit into that category, the officer recommendation is to support and a planning permit would have been issued.
Yeah, good for clarity and transparency. Thank you for that. Councillor Bruni.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'll move that council resolves to issue a planning permit for application P06225 for 3-lot re-subdivision of lot 1 on plan of subdivision 8213113A and lot 2 of planned subdivision 821313A, commonly known as 27 Hunter Street and 2/27 Hunter Street, subject to the following conditions as read on page 14, 15 and 16 of the agenda.
Inclusive. Yeah.
Inclusive.
Thank you. Have I got a seconder to the motion, Councillor Clark? Councillor Bruni, do you want to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Councillor Clark?
No, thank you.
Any other councillor want to speak to or against the motion? In that case, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? That motion is carried. Thank you. And 13.2.2 is the planning permit application for 151 Monkey Gully Road, Mansfield. Ms. Embling, responsible officer again. Councillors, getting questions on this 13.2.2?
I believe we have the
Oh,
deputation from.
point of order, good one. I've totally forgot. We have a deputation on this agenda item by Mr. There he is. Mr. Paul Churong, who will be coming in online.
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Churong. Is that the right pronunciation?
That's correct, councillors. Yes.
My name's Councillor Steve Raby, the Mayor. You're online and for a deputation for item 13.2.2, 151 Monkey Gully Road, Mansfield, and as is normal, we give 3 minutes for a deputation in Mansfield.
Sure.
So over to you.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Councillor Mayor, and also other councillors and council staff. I'm representing the owner of the property. This application's been in council for a couple of years now, and we've worked with council and all the referral authority, and we have made a lot of changes in order to satisfy everyone. And you can see that from the officer report that we had finally had a favourable report in relation to the proposal. I know that there is one objection to the application, a late objection. I realise that the objector raised a few issues in relation to that, which I have also responded to the council already. A lot of the concern that raised by the objectors are things that were not advertised. The only thing that required to be notified were the removal of native vegetation, and we're going to remove, and we may remove maybe up to 2 trees, native trees, and we have offset report to pay for these costs in the event that we remove these trees, and that all that has been in place. In relation to the condition of the permit, we're happy with the condition except for the condition 11. I was advised by my client to speak to the councillor in relation to having the condition amended for us to provide land contribution instead of paying a public open space contribution in the term of cash. If you look at the plan, we've got lot 22, which is a very big lot there that we could contribute to the council for public open space. This area includes a lot of trees, rivers, things like that it's good for for parks and things like that in the future. And we request that the council consider this request in relation to the permit itself. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Churong, for your deputation tonight. And you're welcome to sit in the waiting room, unless unless councillors have any questions for you. Councillors?
No, not for me.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, no questions from councillors, so sit in the waiting room and we'll discuss this matter.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Councillors had the deputation from Mr. Churong on the matter. No questions to him, and the matter is before you. Question, Councillor Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Embling, what would council's appetite be for a land contribution instead of a monetary contribution? I couldn't imagine that would be the most appropriate place for a park.
Certainly, through you, Mr. Mayor, if I may. The council actually has an adopted Mansfield public open space strategy. That document was adopted a couple of years ago now, but it does actually include some plans for where we are proposing to have existing planned open spaces and potential future open spaces. As part of this development application, that document was reviewed in a bit of detail and determined that this area, not specifically this lot, but the broader area around this land is not identified to have any public open space. The closest ones proposed for future open space are approximately midway along Highton Lane on the eastern side, midway along the northern section of Monkey Gully Road, so between Highton Lane and Hyatt Street, and potentially one on the western side of Monkey Gully Road near the corner of Stoneley Road. Looking at the adopted policy, it actually shows the catchment area for those spaces, and this particular site has not been identified for providing public open space.
Great, thank you.
Another question through you, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Just seeking some clarity on the definition of a warehouse and what can be done there. So you can sell online goods but can't collect them. Is that correct?
Certainly, through you, Mr. Mayor. The definition of a warehouse is quite specific, and effectively it does enable your practical uses for storage purposes in the most part. A lot of that does involve online sale or online retail, but the definition under the planning scheme specifically rules out any pickup by customers at those premises. It's noted that if a future landholder or occupant of one of those warehouses wanted to do a retail or other type of commercial or industrial use, they would require a further planning permit application, and that proposed use would likely require advertising to the surrounding properties.
Thank you. So just following on from that, if you were a tradesperson that had a small business, could you use it as your office space and storage for your equipment?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, that is exactly the types of land uses that you would see in a warehouse like this, especially given the proposed size. They are smaller than what you might think to be a standard warehouse that you'd see in large industrial areas.
Yeah. Thank you. No further questions from me.
Miss Embling, the submission that was put in against this proposal mentions the its proximity to a residential development. Could you just explain what the impact of this development could be on a residential development?
Certainly, through you, Mr. Mayor. The planning scheme actually sets out what are called threshold distances for certain uses that have the potential for adverse amenity impacts. Really simple examples are things like concrete crushing that we'd associate with having amenity impacts. What's really interesting is that a warehouse is not even included on that list because it's not deemed to have adverse amenity impact potential because of the way that the definition of a warehouse is described. Further to that, where land is proposed to be used for a warehouse, such as this site, that is more than 30 metres from a residential zoned property, that use is deemed compliant with the purpose of the Industrial 1 zone. So in this instance, the use of land for a warehouse is deemed appropriate on the industrial zoned land. They do have more than a 30-metre setback from any residential properties. It's noted that the closest residential type development around in an appropriately zoned area is the rural living zone nearby along Ogilvy's Road. And then just slightly further away is the residential development at the south end of Highton Lane. But all of the appropriate setbacks that are defined in the planning scheme have been met by this proposal.
I do have a further question after Councillor Teague.
No, yeah,
Go ahead.
Just through you, Mr. Mayor, the lots 20, 21 and 22 on figure 5 have a significant amount of waterway impact, and there's a setback on there. If someone was to purchase one of those lots, would they be able to build down there?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the subdivision has been designed in direct consultation with the Goulburn Broken Catchment Management Authority, who are the water authority responsible for that waterway. The purpose of the warehouses being sited well clear of that buffer area is to protect that waterway. The design actually incorporates that land being used to assist with their stormwater detention and water quality for all of their stormwater. So the land that's been left free will likely need to be kept free of development.
That is separate to an open space contribution.
Very much so. That land would be kept within each of those private lots and managed privately.
Thank you.
Councillor Teague.
No further.
Clark.
No questions from Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Treasure, no questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Well, there is a recommendation on page 24. There is on two.
Happy to move a motion on this,
Yep.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
I'd like to move that council issue a notice of decision to grant a permit for development of land for 21 warehouses, 22 lot subdivision, removal and destruction of native vegetation and reduction of car parking, 3 spaces at 151 Monkey Gully Road, Mansfield, subject to the conditions specified on pages 24 to 32 inclusive of tonight's council meeting agenda.
Thank you, councillor Teague. Got a seconder for that motion? Councillor Treasure. Now, councillor Teague, do you want to speak to the motion?
Only to say that I think that this development ticks all the boxes according to the planning scheme. Note the objection submissions, but there's no reasonable grounds to not pass this development. I think it could be an interesting development up there. That's what the land is zoned for, industrial use, and there's obviously a need for warehouses. So yeah, I'm happy to pass the motion.
Thanks. Councillor Treasure, do you want to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other councillor want to speak to or against the motion? In that case, I'll put this motion to a vote. All those in favour of the motion? That motion is carried. Thank you. Item 13.2.3, the asset plan. Asset plan 2025 to 2035. Our responsible officer is Ms. Judita Sharma. Welcome.
Thank you.
This
Mr. Mayor.
afternoon.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
and welcome in, Mad, as
Thank you.
well. Councillors, you got questions for Ms. Sharma?
I'll ask a question. So you had 3 consultative 3 deliberative panel sessions held with community members and council staff. How well were they attended?
It was, I think few people attended throughout the 3 sessions. This time we had more councillors and a community panel member. And then in last time round, we had few panel members along with few council staff as well. In the last round of asset plan.
Yep. So there wasn't any really hot topics, contentious issues within this plan. So everyone's quite happy, looking forward for the next 10 years on what we're doing, I take it, by this. Obviously, a few of the challenges were highlighted, the parking during peak seasons, the need for more ovals and pedestrian access. They seem to be the main 3 concerns or issues raised. So, yeah, how well do you think they've been addressed in this asset plan?
As a council, through you, Mr. Mayor, as a council, we always try to seek for funding as well, like even for building new footpaths, new upgrading roads and new ovals as well. So council always actively seeks for those funding. And also for footpaths, we do allocate some council contribution every financial year as well, which is incorporated in the 10-year asset plan too. And in terms of media releases, we have been doing that continuously through our communications channels as well. Yeah. So I would say we have addressed most of the concerns from the community members in our long-term asset plan.
Yeah. I also note that there was a question regarding the unsealed section of Dead Horse Lane, which has been addressed. Would you care to just explain that to anyone who might be interested?
Yep. So it's supposed to be sealed by the developer of the adjacent industrial land.
Yeah, it's through you, Mr. Mayor. So it is, as part of HVR, we gave the developer an opportunity to seal that road while we were working on that project. So either they contribute us and we can build up that road, or they can do it themselves when they come to the development and construction of the development together with that development. And they chose to actually do it together when they go ahead with that development, which is pretty much happening soon. So the permit has been issued and they will construct that section of road themselves.
Right, thank you.
Good questions. Councillors, any other questions? No. Well, you know the drill.
And move that, Mr. Mayor, if you like.
Yes. Love to.
The council adopts the Mansfield Shire Council Assets Plan 2025-2035.
Thank you. We've got a seconder. Councillor Brenny. Councillor Teen, move the motion. Would you like to speak to the motion?
Just to say, I think that the asset plan comes up really well. I'd like to congratulate the officers for doing a good job on that. It was great to see that the community was widely consulted over this, and which is what we want. Yeah, look forward to enacting out the plan for the next 10 years, or part of. Yeah.
Great. Councillor Brenny, you speak to the motion.
Thank you.
Any other councillor want to speak to or against the motion? In that case, I'll put this motion to a vote. All those in favour of the motion? The motion is carried. Thank you. Thanks. Coming in. Item 13.3.1, governance and management checklist 24-25.
Yes.
Coordinator, governance and risk, Ms. Chelsea Young. Ms. Young, I congratulate you on becoming a coordinator rather than an officer. We've seen you here many times as an officer, and now you're a coordinator. So congratulations on your well-earned, yeah, well done. pressure's on now, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll see you 7 times tonight.
That's good. Ms. Young. Councillors, have you got any hard questions? In that case,
To move a motion.
thank you, Councillor
The
Brennan.
council authorise Mayor Councillor Steve Raby and Chief Executive Officer Kirsten Alexander to certify the 2024-25 governance and management checklist.
And Councillor,
I would like to second that, Mr. Mayor.
thank you, Councillor.
Nice.
Councillor Brennan, you pose a motion. Would you like to speak to it?
Yeah, thank you for keeping us in such good governance thus far, maintaining these endless checklists. Thank you.
Councillor Clark?
Just to say it was nice to see so many ticks, no gaps, doing well.
Any other councillor want to speak to or against that motion? In that case, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour of the motion? Motion is carried. Don't go away, Ms. Young. Item 13.3.2 is the instruments of delegation and appointment authorisation S5 and S6. Councillors, questions?
Yeah, Miss Young, would you just get care to explain the purpose behind this motion and the limits on the expenditure?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. With S5, which is council delegating to the CEO, there is an expenditure limit. At the moment, we're delegated, or CEO's delegated through other delegations to pay for any expenditure that exceeds that 200,000 that's legislated. So that at the moment was the fire services property levy is one that comes to mind. Now the new ESVF. So the change would be that instead of it being delegated under other delegations, it would fall under this with a limit. So the amount of 750,000 would mean that anything that has to be paid over that will come to council, which just provides clarity and transparency to the community as well as councillors. Oh, and then there was the work cover and insurance. That just does save some administrative time, something that councillors would still be made aware of. It is paid annually, and if it was exceeding the amount, I believe, was it 400,000? 550,000. If it exceeds that, it would come to council.
So that's work cover and insurance.
So separate, so not combined.
Yep.
So each separate item.
For work cover payments and insurance
Yeah.
payments. Yep. Very good, thank you.
Okay.
Good question. Any other questions, councillors?
I'll move a motion.
Thanks, councillor Brennan.
Council 1, revoke the existing Schedule 5 instrument delegation from council to chief executive officer previously endorsed by council on 18th March 2025. B, Schedule 6 instrument of delegation from council to members of staff, council staff previously endorsed by council on 24th of June 2025. 2, endorse the following dated 24 June 2025. A, Schedule 5 instrument of delegation from council to chief executive officer. B, Schedule 6 instrument of delegation from council to members of council staff. 3, approve Mayor Councillor Steve Raby to sign the endorsed instruments as listed in point 2, and Deputy Mayor Councillor James Tian to witness the signing.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I've just noticed an error in my report. They need to be endorsed dated today, which is the 16th of September. Apologies, I've written the 24th of June when the last ones had been endorsed.
All right.
So point 2 will just need to state 16 September 2025.
We'll move.
Picked up.
Yeah,
Good pick up. So that
that is why.
1B and 2
No, so
No,
that's
one B
numbers.
stays. the
One
same.
B
Two.
stays,
Just two.
two
Two turns
Yeah.
into.
turns into the 16th of September 2025. Do you want to read two out again, please? Councillor Brennan?
Mr Mayor, move the motion that council point 2 have the amended endorse the following dated 16 September 2025. The rest as read.
Thank you. I need a seconder for that motion.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Also,
Oh, sorry.
Councillor Treasure got a hand up
Go
just
for it.
in front of you.
I'll second that, please, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Treasure. Councillor Brennan, do you want to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Treasure.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other councillors want to speak to that motion?
No.
Against the motion? In that case, I'll put that motion to a vote. Those in favour of the motion? Thank you. Item 13.3.3, Councillor Professional Development Policy, Responsible Officer is Ms. Chelsea Young. So this affects all of us. Any questions?
All looks good to me.
Well, that's good. That case.
I'll move the motion.
Yeah. Ask what?
Ask for motions.
Yeah, I'm asking for a
Okay.
motion. I said in that case. In that case, I'll ask for a motion.
I'd like to move a motion. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Clement.
I'd like to move that council endorses the councillor professional development policy 2025.
Thank you, councillor Bruni. Second the motion. Councillor Clark, do you want to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mr.
Councillor Bruni, do you want to speak to the
No,
motion?
thank you, Mr Mayor.
Would any other councillor like to speak to or against the motion? In that case, I'll put this motion to a vote. All those in favour of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you. Item 13.3.4, Independent Audit Member Recommendation. Responsible Officer, Ms. Chelsea Young. Councillors, any questions? In that case, anyone want to move a motion? Councillor Teens.
I'm happy to move that council appoint Miss Jane Watson to the Mansfield Shire Council Audit and Risk Committee for a second 3-year term commencing 13th of November 2025.
Thank you. Got a seconder for the motion?
I'll
Councillor
second that.
Treasure,
Mayor.
thank you. Councillor Teens, do you want to speak to the motion?
I'll just say, yeah, it's great that Miss Watson has applied and been appointed for that position on the Audit and Risk Committee. She was a good working member when I was involved with the committee, so it's good, yeah, that there's a bit of continuation.
Councillor Treasure, do you want to speak to the motion?
No, just to second what Mr. Tan said. She's a very good operator.
Council on speak to or against it? I'll just also endorse Councillor Teens' comments there. I am on that committee and Ms. Jane Watson is a very good chair. We're very lucky to have her and I'm very grateful for her continuation on the committee. So I'll put that motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Thank you. 13.4.1 is the financial statements 2024 to 2025. The responsible officer is the financial controller, Mr. Michael McCormick, and welcome, Mr. McCormick, tonight. Good to see you. Council, questions for Mr. McCormick?
So the financial statements have gone to Vago and come back. How was that process?
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of the ARC. Through you, Mr. Mayor. We're yet to be finalise our audit through Vago yet. It's going to commence from the 22nd of September.
Sorry, could you say that again?
So the audit's going to commence from the 22nd of September. So it starts next
Okay,
week.
yeah, right. Yep. So this is the process whereby the financial statements go to Vago and then they will come back, hopefully fairly quickly. Yep. Okay.
Mr. McCormick, the financial statements were looked at by the Audit and Risk Committee. How did that go for you?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. That's where I jumped the gun before. It was pretty smooth, the financials through the Audit and Risk Committee. There was no concerns raised from them, and they were happy to recommend it to go through to the Vago.
Thank you.
Question through you, Mr.
Yes,
Mayor.
of
Mr.
course.
McCormick. These are more so clarification questions. Just notice that there's a substantial increase in the surplus. What are the main drivers behind the big increase?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. The main drivers for the increase in the surplus, so we did receive 50% of the 25-26 financial assistant grant, which was 2.175 million. So that was additional money that we would have had that we hadn't forecasted for. And if it's comparing versus the 23-24 financial year, we received only, I think, 15% of the 23-24 in that financial year. So we've got an incredibly large uplift from that funding. Also with the revaluation of our assets, that contributed about $15 million to our surplus. And we're not forecast, we don't budget or forecast for that number. So we're always going to have a significant increase on that financial number.
Thank you.
Any other questions, councillors? In that case, I'll be looking for a motion. Councillor Clark.
I'd like to move that Council 1 approves in principle the financial statements of Mansfield Shire Council for the year ended 30th of June 2025, and 2 authorises Mayor Councillor Rabi and Deputy Mayor Councillor Tan to certify the Mansfield Shire Council financial statements for the year ended 30th of June 2025 on behalf of Council, subject to any amendments or changes made as required by the Victorian Auditor General's Office.
Thank you. I'll give a seconder for the motion.
Second that, please, Mr. Mayor.
Treasurer, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Clark, do you want to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, sir.
Councillor Treasurer, do you want to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other councillors want to speak to the motion? Against the motion? Put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion's carried. Yes. Thank you, Mr. McCormick. And item 13.4.2 is the performance statements 2024-25, and the responsible officer is Coordinator Governance and Risk, Ms. Chelsea Young. Councillors, questions?
No, but I'll move a motion.
Yes.
That Council 1 approves in principle the performance statements of Mansfield Shire Council for the year ended 30 June 2025, and 2 endorses Mayor Councillor Rabi and Deputy Mayor Councillor Tan to certify the performance statements of Mansfield Shire Council for the year ended 30 June 2025, subject to any amendments or changes made as required by the Victorian Auditor General's Office.
Thank you. Have I got a seconder to that motion? Yeah. Councillor Clark. Councillor Brenny,
Uh,
as a motion, do you want to speak to it?
so they all look like they're tracking well, and hopefully nothing comes back from the auditor.
Councillor Clark, do you want to speak to it?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Any other councillor want to speak to the motion?
Yeah,
Councillor Team?
can I? Just to point out, on page section 4, sustainable capacity indicators, it's good to see the turnaround in the workforce turnover from 2022, and it's now steadied at what I think is a very good level for local government. I did, but it's probably a bit late. I did have a question, but and perhaps you might explain it just for my benefit. But the own source revenue indicator, how does that? I know it's gone up, but you know what's behind it?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the own source revenue is driven from our rates collection and slightly from like our rental revenue and components like that within in those elements. So the indicator can fluctuate depending on our funding. So from year to year, from that
And timing.
and timing as well.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think I need to ask our governance and risk. There's been a question asked and answered. Do I need to ask for this motion to be put to the councillors again? Or are we happy to?
Believe so, as long as you're happy to.
Yeah, I'm
with
happy.
being responded
No, I'm
to.
happy, or else I wouldn't have allowed the question.
Yeah.
So just want to make sure transparently that we're right with risk and with governance. Thank you. Okie doke. So any other councillors want to speak to the motion or against it?
I'll add in the waste diversion figures trending really well. It's a good waste efforts.
All right.
That's all.
I'm going to be a bit like gone. Right. So put that motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. McCormick.
Thanks, Mr. McCormick. Thanks, Ms. Young. Item 14. Council meeting resolutions action status register. Any questions on that?
I'd like to move a motion.
Yep, you can move your motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, that council receive and note the Mansfield Shire Council.
As long as there's no questions. Is there questions? Are there
Takes
questions?
me a while. No, there's not.
There's no, that's good.
That
I'm just looking at Councillor Treasurer online. I've got two things to look at here.
Yeah.
No questions, Councillor Treasurer?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
no questions.
Councillor Clark, moving a motion.
I would like to move the council receive and note the Mansfield Shire Council meeting resolution action status register as at 9th of September 2025.
Thank you. And Councillor Bruni is seconding that motion. Councillor Clark, you want to speak to it?
No, thank you, Mr.
Councillor Bruni,
No, thank you.
any others? Councillor want to speak to the motion or against it? Okay, so I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? It's passed. 15.1 is the Audit and Risk Committee meeting agenda and minutes taken as read, councillors. Comments, questions? In that case, I'll be looking for a motion. Councillor Team.
Certainly, the council received the agenda and minutes of the Mansfield Shire Audit and Risk Committee meeting held 25th of August 25.
Thank you. Got a seconder for the motion? Councillor Bruni. Councillor Team, you want to speak to that motion?
No, thanks.
Councillor Brenny,
No, thank you.
any other councillor want to speak to it or against the motion? I'll put that motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion's carried. Item 15.2 is the Audit and Risk Committee Chair's report to Council. And the responsible officer is Chelsea Young. You are having a big night tonight, aren't you?
Wearing the seat out.
Yes. The responsibility of taking on that role. So, councillors, have got any questions?
I just have one question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Performance evaluation, assessment of the committee performance, how is that conducted?
It's conducted through AFS, our internal auditors.
Okay,
So it is an external party. that
okay,
does
so they're not members of the committee, they're reviewers from.
Yeah, so people review the committee. Yeah,
Excellent.
so it's not them reviewing themselves.
Great, thank you.
No other questions? I'll be looking for a motion then.
I'll move that council receives and notes the Mansfield Shire Audit and Risk Committee report describing the activities, findings and recommendations for the 6 months ending 30 June 2025.
Thank you. And I saw councillor Team put his hand up to second that motion, so happy for that. Councillor Brenny, do you want to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Councillor Teahan?
No, thanks.
Any other councillor want to speak to or against that motion? In that case, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Item 16, nil. Item 17, closure of meeting to members of the public, so we can go discuss confidential reports. Motion, councillor Toon.
I move that council close the meeting to members of the public under section 66(2)(a) of the Local Government Act 2020 to consider confidential reports in accordance with section 66(2) of the Local Government Act 2020 for reasons set out in section 18 below.
Thank you. I've got a seconder for the motion. Councillor Clark. All those in favour of the motion? Motion's carried, and we will close this open meeting and we'll discuss the confidential reports, and we will be back shortly. Thank you.
Is that? Rings a bell.
Welcome back, everybody. If you're still watching, we broke out into a confidential meeting to discuss item 18.1, which I can make public, that the award lump sum contract for reconstruction and reseed preparation program is awarded to Central Vic Stabilising for the amount of $340,347.38 ex GST. We approved a 10% construction contingency amount of $34,034.74 ex GST. And we have authorised the Chief Executive Officer to execute that contract. So that's what happened in our meeting offline. With that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching our normal council meeting, and I extend the councillors thanks for that and wish you all a very safe and good evening. So I'll close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you. Ooh, it's Robbie.